Finally time for our trip out to Montana for 1994. Difference happening this year because we're taking the cat along, which should add to our adventures.
You want a view of the cat?
He doesn't seem real happy about this so far. Now there are two other significant changes this year aside from taking the cat. One is that we have a much bigger roof rack this year. We're kind of hoping we didn't put too much weight in it. As a result, well, we're not taking the tent this year either, but I don't think the car is nearly as packed as it has been. The change would be that we had promised the kids that if they could learn to ride their bicycles, we'd somehow find a way to take their bicycles out to Montana this year. I think Bethany must be excited. Mommy's getting ready to get into the driver's seat here. We did take Michael's bike out the first year, but he'd never really learned how to ride it. He had the trainer wheels on. This year there's no need for the training wheels.
Here we are. It's Patient's first motel room. It's our first night and we're in Indiana. And the children have a present for their daddy.
Wow, what can it be? Battle of Gettysburg. Really? What primary school? Oh, it's Lancaster.
It tells on the back about it.
Right, oh, that's pretty nice. This is Sunday morning now, and we're in South Bend, Indiana, on the campus of the University of Notre Dame. This rather venerable looking building is the football field. I was kind of surprised that they don't have lights here. In fact, we're more or less in the middle of the athletic complex. This would be where they play their basketball games. Well, today we're picking up a new state, Iowa. Never been in, I've been in Iowa, but the family hasn't been. And the way we got into Iowa was by crossing the Mississippi River from Illinois. We're on an observation deck of the Welcome Center, and I think this is supposed to remind you of being out on a riverboat. Unlike other years when we came out on I-90 and crossed the river on I-90, this is I-80. Now there were some mighty famous people who came from Iowa. Such as Mamie Eisenhower, John Wayne, the Laura Ingalls Wilder House, Herbert Hoover. You're wondering why there's a Buffalo Bill Museum near here. He was born in LeClaire, Iowa. This thing's made out of pipes. The striking device there is just a thong, like it from a sandal. Now Monday morning and we're in Nebraska. Everybody's out of the car except for one, and we're going into the Welcome Center here in Nebraska. Patience, though, gets left behind. Now there's a sign there which indicates that the landscape, the hillside here outside the visitor center, is being developed with native Nebraska flowers and trees. right above the interstate highway is Rosenblatt Stadium. This is the home to the Omaha Royals, Kansas City minor league team. You perhaps get the feeling of that from the shape of the scoreboard. It's also the site of the College World Series games. We're now at Fort Kearny in Nebraska. This is one of the forts along the Oregon Trail. This is a cavalry guidon from 1863. We are, of course, inside the museum here at the Visitor Center. This is This is a reconstruction of a blacksmith shop. Note the sod roof on this building. Here we see the Smith's Forge.
What's that? Dad, what's that?
Little howitzer is displayed here in the blacksmith shop.
Mom,
This is the kind of little hand cart we saw at Salt Lake City at Temple Square. It's the kind the Mormons used on their hard trip out west on the Mormon Trail. This Conestoga wagon's on display at the fort. And since this one's identified as US, I suppose this one would be the kind that the troopers used here at the fort. This is the reconstruction of Fort Mitchell here at Fort Kearny. The fort was opened in 1848 to provide protection for the settlers on the Oregon Trail. And Fort Kearny's service for the Pony Express was in the early 1860s. Now we see the fort's flagstaff there and the 24-pound mountain howitzer. Flagstaff is actually somewhat reminiscent of what a flagstaff on a ship would look like. These little wooden posts mark off the outline of the various buildings that are still awaiting reconstruction. The structure underneath this mound of earth is the reconstruction of the fort's powder magazine. The interior of the magazine is actually a pyramid. And now we get a last look back along Fort Kearny, the site of most of the fort's original buildings. We're now in Gothenburg, Nebraska, and we're at the site of an original Pony Express station. The Pony Express ran in 1860 and 1861. The old station, though, was at the Upper 96 Ranch, which was west of here and south of the Platte River. So this is the original building, but it was moved here. We've decided to do something special here. We're taking a little bit of a carriage ride here in Gothenburg. Michael's going to ride shotgun. The carriage in which we're riding seems to be pretty fancy. It's an Amish-built carriage, but it was built in Indiana. And actually, right at the moment, Michael's the one that's driving this carriage. So our little boy has unsuspected talents. The horse's name is Fancy. Plow is at the entrance to the Sod House Museum. Yeah, that buffalo is made out of furniture springs. This is the Sod House Museum in Gothenburg with a visitor. The walls of the house literally are made out of sod. As you can see, the walls are probably about 3 feet thick on the average. On the inside of the house, the walls are mudded with sand and clay, and then they'd be whitewashed with about 4 or 5 coats of lime and water to keep the bugs and the ants out. Now the ceiling would be covered with cotton muslin, and that's to keep the dirt from falling down into the house. The reason for the sod construction is simply that there weren't that many trees out here. There's a windmill outside the sod house. We're now at Ogallala, Nebraska, and I have to climb up a few steps to get into Boot Hill Cemetery. I don't know that there's anyone really significant buried in this cemetery. And it appears that an awfully lot of the graves are for unknown occupants. This is a statue of an early cowboy named Lep Sanders. Well, we're now at a major landmark on the Oregon Trail, Chimney Rock. It says, the sign here says 470 feet above the North Platte River Valley, and it also says it's 325 feet, for the formation is 325 feet above the base. According to the sign, this is the most celebrated of all the natural formations along the Oregon Trail. In fact, and there is Chimney Rock. We're now up at another famous landmark on the Oregon Trail, Scotts Bluff National Monument. I suppose this is the view that's as often seen as any in photographs as far as Scotts Bluff is concerned. But actually, it's not just that one piece that's Scotts Bluff. There's a whole network of rocks here. And that whole network of rocks then would be called Scotts Bluff. We're about to drive our van up to the top of the bluff. Although, a Conestoga wagon. top of Scotts Bluff and looking out across. We're really high up here. Now you can see a road going from the left in toward the center of the picture, and that road goes through Mitchell Pass. The wagon trains would have passed through there, so that road is part of the Oregon Trail. I expect to be hiking back that in just a little bit. The winding road is the one on which we came up to the top, and you can see that the road passes through a tunnel there in the center of the picture. So we passed through about 4 tunnels on our way up through here. Well, we're now down at the base again. And here are 3 explorers about to take a walk on the Oregon Trail. We're about to walk through Mitchell Pass, which is where that car is going now. And the wagon trains would have filed through this pass. There was a camera shy bee on that, which is why I was going to take the picture. Plants here look really unusual. Now this is another view of Scotts Bluff. We're actually approaching Mitchell Pass now. Here at Mitchell Pass, the wagons had to come single file. They normally would spread out to avoid the dust of the other wagons, but here it had to be single file. And it may well be that these ruts that might be visible on the picture beside the path that I'm on are some of the ruts from the wagons. Again, I'm standing in Mitchell Pass. Well, we're now entering Wyoming. And as you can see, we're still basically following the route of the Oregon Trail. And now we're at Old Fort Laramie. Bethany and Michael just got their pictures taken with a soldier. We're actually outside one of the fort bakeries. This is the laundress.
What you do, grab it like this and rub your knuckles on the washboard. You heard? Yeah. It does.
This is the best way to wring out the clothes.
Nobody slept on that one since we stuffed it. But after you stuff
Actually, while they were doing some reconstruction work on this building, they found the remains of the old guardhouse foundations. This rather attractive looking building is the house of the commanding officer here at Fort Laramie. This is actually another guardhouse, and the sign says that there are cells in the back. This is the confinement room in the one guardhouse. It's inhabited by a bull snake and quite a few swallows. This guardhouse held up to 40 people. There isn't much left of the old administration building. Apparently in the latter days of the fort they even had plays held in here. Again, the house of the commanding officer here. Old Bedlam here is the oldest surviving building in the state of Wyoming. It's the bachelor officers' quarters. That's also how it got the name Old Bedlam, because of the ruckus and noise that apparently was raised here. This is one of the officers' quarters inside Old Bedlam. Again, this is where the bachelors stayed. Kitchen in Old Bedlam. Their dining area, actually. And here we see the cavalry barracks. The cavalry barracks is the only surviving enlisted man's barracks here at the fort. This obviously is the mess hall. And here's where the troopers actually slept. We're now on the beginnings of Officers Row. This is where some of the married officers and their families lived. These are the ruins of 3 more married officers' barracks along Officers Row. Most of the last couple of days we've been following the Platte River. This is the old bridge across the Platte River. The bridge was erected in 1875, and it was a vital link between Fort Laramie and Cheyenne, Wyoming. Well, it's Wednesday and we're in Riverton, Wyoming. At any rate, we're inside a McDonald's, and this McDonald's has a rather elaborate play area. And we've been here probably for about half an hour. And Michael and Bethany are having a good time. Just had to drive about an hour and a half out of Casper. And as I said, we have about 2 hours to go, so it's actually been kind of a boring day cooped up in the car so far. As you can see, we're in a snowstorm. I'm taking this out through the car window, but there is a female moose out there. This is the second one. This, believe it or not, is one of the premier views in Grand Teton National Park. It's the view at Oxbow Bend. You can see that the Teton Range is pretty much enshrouded by fog today. Fog might actually have cleared up a little bit since my last view here. It is windy though and very cold. This is Coulter Bay in Grand Teton National Park. And as the sign indicates, it's named for John Coulter. As you can see, there's quite a bit of fog yet up in the mountains. I'm now at Jackson Lake, and this is one of the real prime photo spots in the park, I think. It's now Thursday, the last real full day of our journey. Yesterday we actually spent quite a bit of time in Yellowstone, but boy, the weather was bad with snow and fog, so we didn't really take pictures or really see much. This is Lewis Falls. Here the Lewis River is winding around through a meadow. Actually looks like a good place for spotting moose. View out across the lake is really pretty this morning. And there's even a buffalo out enjoying the view. These are the Hardy Rapids on the Yellowstone River. The cutthroat trout jump these rapids. I believe we're a little early for their peak season. It says during the peak season you can see fish jumping every 10 or 15 seconds. Couple of summers we've gotten used to seeing impressive buffalo herds in Yellowstone. This summer these guys are far away. But literally all those black dots out there moving around are one huge buffalo herd. It's by far the largest I've ever seen in the park here. Looks like we're at the end. However, if we go over just this way a little more, should soon start picking up more buffalo. We're leaving Yellowstone today by the northeast entrance of the park, and this will take us to the Beartooth Highway. This is Soda Butte. It's an extinct hot spring. Apparently it's been inactive for about 100 years or so. We're now traveling on the Beartooth Highway, and actually we're in Shoshone National Forest in Wyoming. In the valley we see Long Lake. You can see several poles alongside the roadway. Those are to for the winter time when the road's snowed shut. It guides the snow plows, lets them know where the road's located. I believe we're about as high up as we get now on Beartooth Highway. We're staying in a motel in Bozeman. We did overnight. One member of the family likes to watch TV. Surprised there's not just one person that's watching TV. There's two. Oh, we've arrived in Missoula now. And our house this summer is going to be the Wesley House. The house itself is actually right across the street from the campus. So I'm going to have a very, very short walk to go to work in the mornings. Now I'm taking these pictures on Saturday afternoon. We actually arrived at about 12:15 yesterday, which would be Friday the 10th. So let's go in and I'll show you a little bit what the house looks like. This is the main living room area in the house. Comes equipped with a rather elaborate entertainment system, which we haven't figured out how to operate. The living area does contain a really nice sitting area with a huge window in the background. This is the dining area. The dining room table there at which Kathy and Bethany are sitting is really huge. This is also in the kitchen, and believe it or not, it's just used as a cupboard for storing folding chairs. The kitchen would not exactly be described as modern, but it is very spacious. And there is pretty much counter space. There is a laundry room just off the kitchen, which, as you can hear, Kathy's putting to good use even as I'm taping here. Kathy really likes the doors which separate the kitchen and dining room. Now we're in a small room area that's on top of the stairs. This is the bedroom that Michael and Bethany have claimed. Here's Bethany's bed, or at least it was last night. And now panning around, you can see Bethany has her Game Boy hanging there and some of her precious objects. We're looking over more toward Michael's side of that long desk. Michael brought some soldiers and also some Mighty Morphin Power Rangers along. And up there's his Ford Apache, which he hasn't put together yet. And that's where Michael slept last night. The upstairs bathroom is kind of small. It does contain 2 sinks, which I suppose will be kind of nice. There's also a bathtub with sliding glass doors. The bedroom that Kathy and I plan on using. They only have single beds here, so we slid 2 singles together to make a rather king-sized bed. Now there is a small apartment built into the first floor, or just off the first floor. The apartment does have a small living area, and that living area has 2 desks. There is a small kitchen area in the apartment. Anyone's actually going to use these bunk beds though. The sofa in the living area opens up into a double bed. This bedroom really is small. In fact, the double bed wouldn't fit in the room. And there is a small bathroom yet with the apartment.
They might be looking out there to see us. See how the windows look so tiny? Put your hands up to the glass so you can see that.
Hi there. How you doing, Pam?
So are you exhausted?
Well, this guy's getting...
And now we have Stan and Shirley out on the university campus.
Welcome to Montana.
Montana. Yeah.
We should rewind it back.
Do I have to rewind it to review?
We are at the Conrad Coors Ranch today, and the kids are with Shorty. Michael's saying, "Remember me, Michael?" And Shirley's here at the chuck wagon. She's going to make lunch for us.
Have coffee? Pull out. I like this kind of table, and it would just fold up and be the back of the wagon.
We were told to look for a weird-looking chicken. Supposedly looks like Tina Turner. We presume this is it. And Michael's going to ring the dinner bell for us.
Unhappy little cat tonight. And the reason he is unhappy is because he is getting his first bath ever, courtesy of Kathy and Aunt Shirley. Patience has been a dirty little boy. He managed to get into one of the heat vents here and has soot and dirt or something all over him.
Well, Michael, get that. I got a clean cloth out. I guess just under so we can sort of do as best we can. This is a tool we're holding. Look how pretty the water was. Get that, Ken.
Now, he was a dirty little cat. The water there is really dirty.
He probably said, hey, that's
Well, this is getting, wait.
Like, Mom, Moms are making fun of me.
House being a real mess.
Ooh,
Come on, guys, let go of him.
his head's all wet.
You two might as well say goodbye to Patience for the night, because I don't think it's too likely you're going to see him anymore tonight.
It was me. Stan, look at the cat.
Well, I've now put in 2 full weeks of work. We're on our way to Glacier National Park. For the distance we can see Lake Missoula and the Mission Mountain Range. These pictures are being taken from the National Bison Range. Haven't actually seen many animals yet. In the distance is the town of St. Ignatius. It's a Saturday morning, and we're getting ready to enter Glacier National Park for the last time, perhaps, in these 3 years that we've been out west. This is McDonald Falls. There are quite a few waterfalls on the upper McDonald's Creek. Neat. Michael just took a picture with my camera, and Mommy took a picture of Michael taking a picture. Bethany, as always, is safety conscious. She has her dolls strapped in so they would not get injured in case of an accident. Michael, meanwhile, is intent on his Game Boy. This is Heaven's Peak. It has an altitude of almost 9,000 feet. This is another view then of Heaven's Peak. Across the way here we see the Weeping Wall. We just drove through that and the water was splashing about to the center of the road.
What?
We're actually in Alberta, Canada right at the moment, and way off in the distance there we're seeing Big Chief Mountain. And now we're back in the United States again and picking up a much closer view of Big Chief Mountain. Notice that crack there in the left part of the mountain. People tell us that someday that's going to fall off. That part of the mountain's going to fall off. Here we see some bear grass. It's actually a member of the lily family. Bear grass was given its name by people on the Lewis and Clark expedition. Apparently they saw grizzlies in a field of this kind of flower. This is Sherburne Lake. It's in the Many Glaciers Valley. It's now Sunday morning and our cat is being tortured. There's a tree right outside the house, and one of those red squirrels is in the tree. And now we have two little children here. They went to see pictures of their cat with the squirrel. Obviously they are about as silly as can be. This is actually being shot the next morning now. Our cat's little friend is back again. Well, as you can see, it's July 1st, not July 4th. And we have a little daughter with us who's soon going to have a birthday, so we are celebrating the birthday here tonight. We're in a motel, Super 7, I guess the name of it is.
Royal 7.
Royal 7. And it's in Bozeman. Tomorrow we're going to Yellowstone National Park and probably Grand Teton National Park. Now, as you can see, Bethany's birthday cake has kind of a 101 Dalmatians motif. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bethany. Happy birthday to you. So is she going to blow out her candles?
She's blushing. She's blushing. Stupid.
Is that the one you wanted?
Yeah. Hey, Mom, where's mine there?
Be careful, the box. Well, you'll see in a minute.
Awesome.
Now turn around so Daddy can see that.
Awesome. Oh, kind of high, but.